With me I have Rodney Gash. He's in charge of the Harmony Museum here in Harmony, Pennsylvania. How's it going, Rodney?
Very good, very good. We're really excited as this new car show that we have here in Harmony is getting ready to open up.
Mm-hmm. So what are we featuring here?
We have 5 cars that were all made in Butler, Pennsylvania, and it's kind of a great history story. And all through COVID, when we've been shut down, we've been looking forward to being able to do some history again, and we're really excited to have this event.
Sure. These are some nice cars in here. Very nice.
Cool. And then from 1909 Haselton right up to the 1941 Bantam BRC, the original Jeep. So
original Jeep.
Cool stuff.
I like the Roadster. I like the
that's a cool car.
That's pretty cool. So the theme is all these cars were built in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Right. Yeah, and Butler's about 15 miles away. We're in Butler County here, and so it was a great bit of history, and we thought would have a lot of attraction. A neat thing is admission is only $3, and we wanted to make it real affordable, so you can bring the family, walk around, look at these old cars, talk to the people in the Antique Auto Club who restored the cars and know a lot about these vehicles.
And the kids can even sit in some of these cars.
No, I wouldn't say that. They can get their picture standing next to the car.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Okay, that sounds good. So where is Harmony, Pennsylvania?
Harmony, Pennsylvania is about 30 miles north of Pittsburgh, right off Interstate 79. And so we're at exits 88 and 87. Harmony is a really fascinating little town. It was founded in 1804 by a communal religious sect, the Harmonists, and they named it Harmony. And they were here for 10 years. Then they moved on to the wilderness of Indiana. And but we have a lot of the architecture from that first time. We have about 25 buildings from that first decade of the 1800s. The museum itself owns 9 properties here in the site including the oldest barn west of the Allegheny Mountains that the Harmonists built, the oldest Mennonite meeting house west of the Allegheny Mountains that's on the National Register of Historic Places. And it's a fun place to visit. We've got 2 bakeries, a brew pub, restaurants, and it's a real walkable town. So we hope people come to the car show and meander around and see what else we have.
I've seen
here
some old log cabins here too, huh?
Exactly, yeah. Some of them date back to that Harmonist time. There's a few that were actually built like 1805 when the Harmonists first came. There's a lot of brick buildings, but their first thing was cutting down trees, building log cabins. Then eventually they started brickworks. And in the 10 years that we're here, they built 134 buildings, had a brewery and a winery.
The main buildings.
Whoa, yeah, they did. They were very industrious, and it was a communal society. All the profits went to Father George Rapp, who was kind of their charismatic leader, and he divvied out the money to people as their need. And that's how he thought the early Christian apostles lived, and that's why they came here. They thought the second coming of Jesus was just around the corner, and they wanted to live in their vision of how they interpreted the Bible, and that was sharing, working together, and praying.
With me I have Dan Sum from the Butler Old Stonehouse Region Antique Car Club.
Correct.
Welcome to the show, Dan. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Glad to be here.
Thanks for inviting us down here. These are pretty neat cars here.
Yes, they are. They are
definitely. The whole theme we got going on today is all these cars, all these 5 cars were built in Butler.
Correct.
Okay. We're going to start out with the star of the show, or the oldest one of the show.
The oldest one, yes. 1909 Haselton.
Haselton.
Yes. This is the only one in existence. There were 13 that were made. 2 of them were trucks, and this is the only car left.
And this was Mr. Haselton, the owner.
This was his personal vehicle. Yes.
And he owned it all.
He owned it the entire
The
time. He
entire
passed
time.
it down to the family. It originally started out as a race car.
Yeah, I saw that. I said, "It doesn't look like a race car."
No, no. Once he got a family, he decided he needed a family vehicle, so he stretched it out and put a body on it that was suitable for a family. Unlike the race car there with
Yeah.
only
So
box seats.
So this is VIN number, serial number 1. So
This is number
the
1.
first.
This is what he started with.
And it wasn't a big factory, right? He only had
No,
what,
he just a few employees.
5 or 6 employees,
Yes.
and this is all hand built.
Every bit of it. And with a car of this age, they would buy parts from different manufacturers and simply put them together.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. So they like buy fenders from
They'd buy
somebody.
they buy
Okay.
a fender from the supplier, put it on here. You'll see a lot of cars that look very similar to this.
Yeah, I noticed the big headlights. They look real similar. The grill's different, though. I noticed the grill. I've never seen one like that. The brass grill, that shape anyway, you know.
Yes.
So and the wheels, are, you know. Let's go over the car a little bit. So this is called a Haselton 40.
Haselton 40.
Haselton
yes.
40. Haselton 40. Made in
That it
Butler,
is.
Pennsylvania. We'll go from the front to the back. How's that? And
Okay.
you got the gas-powered
Very
headlights
good.
on these babies?
Yep, we have the acetylene-powered headlights. Something that we like to do with small children when they're out and looking at the car, we tell them to look in the headlight. They're upside down.
Oh, they're upside down?
Yeah, if you look in there, you're upside down.
Oh, you're upside. Oh, I see. Okay. And those are powered by what?
Those are powered by the acetylene tank, which is back here on the
Back
fender.
on the side there.
Yes.
Okay.
You would either have the acetylene tank or you would have a carbide generator. Some of the vehicles had carbide generators on the
Okay.
fenders.
So this one has the acetylene
This
tank.
has the tank,
You would
yes.
open it up here and then light it, right?
Right. Yeah, there's a little port right here
Oh, okay.
that you could stick a match up through.
Oh, okay. That's
And
cool.
the headlights are very, very bright for about 10 feet.
Yeah.
And after that, you can't
Can't
see anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Not like today's headlights.
Right.
huh?
Right.
Okay. And let's go with the engine here. We have a 4-cylinder.
Okay, it's a 4-cylinder Wisconsin engine. And a lot of people look at it and they say, well, that's an 8-cylinder. No, it's a dual ignition.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It starts on a distributor and then switches over to a magneto. And to start this engine is a process in itself. You have to make sure you're in neutral. You have to set your spark and your throttle
On the steering wheel
on the
there.
steering wheel,
Right.
on the steering column.
That was
Yes.
pretty standard back then, right?
Yes, that was
Okay,
very
yeah.
standard.
Yeah.
It's also on the standard here we have
okay.
next to us. Then you would prime the cups here.
That's what that was. You put gas in there,
We put
right?
gas in there.
Okay.
We normally do that twice. We have to turn the gas on. This is a vacuum-fed.
You would put the
Tank.
gas in, open up the ports, right?
Open up the port,
Open up the
correct.
ports. It goes down into the cylinders, right? Okay.
Correct.
All right.
And we have to open the tank here and prime the bolt. But once you have that all done and you're primed and ready to go, there's a compression release, excuse me, that is under here.
Okay.
You pull the compression
I
release.
see. Yeah.
Okay. That's a neat little trick too, by the way. But you
Very
pull the
good.
compression release and
And then
set
you
the
crank
crank. Start to crank it over. Once the engine fires, you push the compression release back.
it.
You move around the side of the car, advance your spark, and set your throttle.
Okay.
And your engine's running, hopefully.
Yeah. Where do you get parts for this anymore? If they say something goes wrong, you have to make
A
them.
lot of these parts, yeah, you have to make them. You really do. That's actually how I got involved with the club. They were working on the standard, working on the front end there, and John got me involved. We both work at the same machine shop. He got me involved making parts for the car.
Okay, so we're talking this Haselton is what, a 6-passenger?
It is actually a 7-passenger
7-passenger.
vehicle, yes.
Okay.
You have 2 spots here in the front. You have the 2 jump seats. and then you could have 3 people sitting in the back.
Okay.
And it's a very, very comfortable vehicle.
Convertible. Did it have windows at all, or plastic windows? Or
It does
anything?
not have windows. It is
Okay.
all open.
All open. No heater, no air
No
conditioner,
heater.
nothing.
Nope.
You're basically.
You've got the what they call the 270 or 255 air conditioning. You know, put the windows down and run.
I understand this baby can move, huh? It's got a lot of horsepower.
Oh yes, it's only 40 horse,
Uh-huh.
but being the race car, it still has the gearing in it, and we've had it up to 70 miles an hour.
70 miles an hour in this
Yes.
whole thing. Wow, pretty neat.
And it's very, very stable at that speed. It really is.
Hey Dan, we got a very interesting car here, huh? A very
yes.
expensive car here.
Very expensive, yes.
We're talking, how much was this back in the
This
days?
car sold for $5,000 back when it was brand new.
In 1922,
yes.
equivalent to how much nowadays?
Oh, that's roughly $500,000 if you bring it forward.
Wow. So
So it was a very expensive car. You were quite rich if you owned this vehicle.
you probably owned a steel mill or two or something.
You
huh?
probably owned something. Either that or you gave Standard a very nice order. I heard a rumor that if you gave them a very nice order, one of these might magically appear in your driveway.
Ah, that sounds good.
Nice perk.
So this was made by the Standard Steel Car Company in
Correct.
Butler.
Yes.
Okay. And this is basically
They-
the first car they made in that company, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And it lasted for how many years was it?
Approximately 11
11
years.
years. Okay.
And the Standard Steel Car Company eventually became Pullman Standard.
Okay.
Everyone in the area is familiar with Pullman Standard.
Right. All right. Okay. This is one of the latter ones because it was 1922 and the company started what, in 1912?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty. That's a beast, boy. Yeah. You were somebody in this. Has windows. This one has windows in it. Crank up windows.
Oh,
in
yes.
it. Headlights. What kind of headlights are these?
They're electric headlights.
Electric headlights. Okay.
It had electric lights on the interior.
Mm-hmm.
And it even had a little bit of a heater for the passengers in the
Get
back.
out. Really?
Yes.
Wow. This is what, 6-volt system?
It's a 6-volt system. Yes.
No crank
No crank. It's electric start.
from the floor.
There's a button.
There's a button.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh wow.
You hit the button. The starter is actually up over there,
Okay.
but this is all gear drive. Everything here on the alternator, the water pump and everything is all gear drive.
So you're definitely paying for the luxury then, huh? You don't have
Oh,
to
yes.
crank it. You got the heater in it. Did
Right.
did the driver have a heater too?
There's a lot of heat that comes through that firewall, I'll tell you.
They didn't have the
Yeah.
insulation like
On
they
a
have nowadays,
90-degree
yeah.
day, it's a chore to drive this vehicle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you got the fold-down windshield anyway, huh? They could pull
Yep.
you off that way.
You have the windows open and everything, but you're still quite warm in here.
This one is Mediterranean blue, so it come in different colors, I understand, right?
Yes, it came in a few different colors. It wasn't the standard black.
Uh-huh.
You know, Henry Ford said you could have any color you wanted
As
as long as it was
it's
black.
Yeah, you got that right. You got that.
But this was a luxury vehicle, so
What is the difference between this engine and the one we just saw over there? The
okay, this engine is a
Haselton.
Herschel Spielman,
okay,
and it's a V8.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the 8 cylinders as opposed to the 4 cylinders.
right.
It's twice the horsepower. This is approximately an 80 horse engine. But being that, it's only capable through the gearing of doing roughly 40 miles an hour.
That's it.
That's it.
And this one can go. The
That one,
Haselton.
that one can go.
Haselton can
We've
go-
had it to 70 and
Yeah.
stop there. You know.
Uh-huh. What did I write down here? Marketed as having an ability to traverse any mountain or steep grade in high gear.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how they advertised it.
It was called the Monarch of the Mountains,
Uh-huh.
and with its gearing, I'm sure it could do it.
In Pittsburgh, you kind of need it, huh? Around
Oh,
all
yes.
the hills and slopes and
Definitely
everything.
made for Pennsylvania.
Uh-huh. So is this car all built in Butler, like the fenders and everything, or was it bought like the Haselton?
They probably made some of the parts, but most of the body was probably bought from body manufacturers.
Okay.
And then they just added them, put them together, much like the Haselton.
Haselton,
Yes.
okay. All right. And they have, you have the regular headlights, and what are these here? I know they're not turn signals, right?
No,
Not back then.
those are just parking lights.
Parking lights here and
And
parking
up
lights
here.
there.
Yep.
Safety lights, like they call them nowadays, safety lights.
Make sure that you can see the rich person coming.
yeah, that's for sure. Outstanding. Look at
The motometer.
Oh man, that's nice.
If you watch pickers, they're always looking for the
Sure,
motometers.
sure. Yeah. One time in my life, I wanted to collect those, and if I found out how much they were, if I would have did it when I was a young chap, it would have been great now.
Oh, yes.
But now they're like big bucks.
Oh, yeah.
There's some beautiful ones.
They're
That's
hard to find.
That's a really nice one there too. So, all right, let's slide back into the interior part of it, okay?
Okay.
But before we go into the interior, the mirrors here.
The mirror.
Pretty cool.
Oh, very cool.
Uh-huh.
Everybody thinks that the day and night mirror is a new invention. Well, you had the day mirror, and if you turned it around,
That's a
you
nice
had the night mirror.
You think they wouldn't think of that back then because the headlights weren't that bright or anything,
Right.
you know? But that is really neat.
They thought of quite a few things.
Uh-huh. Yes, they did. And we thought there was a modern thing, but it's not a modern thing. Now we're sliding into the interior here, which is what I understand it's original 1922 interior.
Correct. It's definitely original. If you look at it, you can see some of the wear on it and everything. But yeah, it's definitely original.
And what kind of transmission we have in this one?
We have a 3-speed transmission,
Okay.
and it's not synchronized. So for anybody that doesn't know what a synchronized transmission is, you have to match the engine speed with your ground speed in order to shift to the next gear.
Okay. You get a lot of grinding, huh?
A lot, yes, a lot.
Okay, and we got the same setup as we have in the other one there, the Haselton.
Right. You have the spark advance,
Spark advance
and you have the idle.
okay. And I see we have a odometer in this one and a speedometer in this one.
Yes, they had a speedometer and an odometer. Unfortunately, the one in here does not work. Would be nice to know how slow I was going sometimes.
Yeah. Roll up windows, which boy, that's a big plus for back then. Big plus. Big roll up windows.
And you rolled the window up, and when it hit the top, it actually moved out and sat in a slot.
Oh wow.
So that's what kept it from going down.
Huh, that's cool. Yeah. Pretty nice. And you had, looks like this one had aprons in it or curtains in it?
Yep, had curtain rods in it.
Curtains in it. And
Give some privacy to the folks in the back.
here's something for you. It has a vinyl top on it. Is that a vinyl top?
That's a vinyl, I believe, yes. I'm not exactly certain on it. I know that it's probably not the original.
That's probably the way it come though, I would imagine, yeah.
Yes.
And you're talking what, a 7-seater here?
Your 7-passenger vehicle. Once again, you have 2 persons in the front, 2 jump seats, and 3 in the very
Well,
back.
the jump seats you can put down, right?
The jump seats you can put down,
Yeah,
yes.
that's just in case you have little kids or something. You throw them in there because they don't look very comfortable at all.
No, I'm sure they weren't. Especially if the kids were misbehaving and mom was sitting in the back.
Smack them in the head. You got a Voss in there too for flowers, which is pretty neat. And we thought Volkswagen come out with that one, huh? Remember the Volkswagen, the old
Yeah.
Bugs had the Voss in it?
Oh yes.
With me from the Butler Old Stone House, Region AACA, we got John Pro. Hi, John.
Howdy.
And your title is?
I'm more or less an events director. At least that's what I'm trying to do for the club, because we really never had an events director. And a couple years ago, I was the president of the club, and I kept trying to get somebody to do events, and I was never able to get somebody. And so when Dan took it here last year, I started to become events director. That's what I wanted for myself, and I figured that would be great for him also, as we have an events director, making plans and taking the vehicles out and about.
You guys ever do any car shows around here?
Oh yeah, we've done a few around here.
In Harmony?
We've done one up on right at the main intersection up here in Harmony at 19 and 68. We've done one over in the middle of Butler, and we also do one at the Jeep Festival over in Cooper's Lake when that comes up in June. We take these up there and show them around. But the other ones, we invite anybody with antique cars, pre-war or after. We don't care. Bring them out. Let's all just explain our cars to everybody and just have a nice field day.
We're from the Youngstown area, street scene is, Armstrong Cable. And where is Harmony at?
You're standing in Harmony. Okay, we're about 25 miles, 20 miles north of Butler, or not Butler, Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
You're north of Pittsburgh.
We're north of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay, you're around the Zelienople area?
Correct. We run anywhere between Butler, Zelienople, naturally Harmony here. But we do some Saxonburg. We got members all over the place. I'm hoping this year that we get up into Slippery Rock, back down into Saxonburg. So we're gonna try doing some more just little jolts with other club members and cars, and most of it will be antique cars. But if you want to bring a street machine out, that's fine. We have no problems with that.
How many members you have in your club?
Right now, we're about 40 members.
40, okay.
Okay. A lot of our members are getting fairly old.
That's the way my club is too, yeah.
And, when we get to a club meeting, we're happy to see 20.
Yeah, I understand that one, yeah.
And so we're not that big of a region,
Right.
But we are one of the regions that have vehicles to take care of. We physically house, as a region, 3 of these vehicles, and we take care of 2 other ones for Butler County Tourism. So when it comes down to parades and stuff, we can take out their cars. We're on their insurance. We've got these cars, and we do the maintenance on all of these, and we take them out and about.
Do you have a website?
We don't have. We used to have a website, and it turned out that we really didn't have anybody that can maintain it very well. And
You need the young guys in there for that.
right, yeah, we need some younger blood.
Younger blood, yeah.
We need some younger blood in this.
And if someone wanted to join your club, what would you do? How do you go about it?
Well, we have a Facebook page. We also have a membership form.
What are you under on Facebook?
Butler Old Stone House,
Okay.
and it's a pretty basic page right now, because we don't really have anybody to take care of it.
Right.
We have some things posted up on it. We need some of this younger blood to help take on these things and bring it up so that other people can see it. Other than that, we throw a lot of flyers out and about.
Right.
And
I'll have to like you so I can get you out there. I'll share it all the time when you guys do something. Okay.
Okay, great. But like I said, we take them out as much as we can. We do parades in the area. We do parades at Butler. Naturally, last year there wasn't much of anything. The local library here in Zelienople had its 100th year anniversary, and so we took the standard, the Big Blue Standard. We had it leading the parade because They originally started in 1922.
That's a good parade car. It only
Yeah.
goes 30 miles an hour. It doesn't go too fast at all.
And it's funny, you know, everybody thinks, you know, a big old car like that would overheat.
Yeah.
You know, we drove it from Butler, which is about 14 miles away from where we are. We drove it to Zillionople. We drove it probably 4 or 5 miles through the back roads of Zillionople. And then naturally we drove it back home too. And never once did it overheat,
Right.
you know. So it's a very reliable car for us. Some of our past members, you know, we've had a few members that have passed away on us, let me put it that way, that were very hands-on that car. And you know, it's hard to say that, but you know, that's just the way it is. I'm
Yeah.
more or less second, third generation at that.
That's the problem anymore. You get all these old guys that know a lot about these cars. They're not around anymore to fix them, and
Right.
unless they pass it down to their son or somebody else. You know.
I'm going to tell a quick little story. It's just a small jolt here. One of the members that was one of the main members that restored that car, he was pretty old. He was in the hospital.
Watch what you say about pretty old. I'm getting there myself.
No. I'm talking. He was probably in his mid 80s.
Okay, that's
Okay,
good.
I was going to talk. He's in his mid 80s, and he was in the hospital, and they wondered what the heck he was doing. He was laying underneath the bed, and they said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Oh, I'm fixing it." That's the way some of our members.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
So,
Sounds
because
like
it
a
didn't work right,
cartoon,
so he
yeah.
was underneath the damn bed fixing it. I'm sorry.
He thinks he's under the standard or
You know,
something.
so that's the way, and he was one of the main ones that helped restore the standard.
Yeah. So in his mind, he was probably under there restoring the standard.
It didn't go up and down right, and he didn't like the way it went up and down, so he went down and he was fixing the damn thing.
That's what he did. What are we standing in front of here, John?
All right, we're standing in front of a 1930 Austin Coupe.
Let's go with the history of the Austin Coupe. We'll start out with that, okay? Where did the Austin start out at?
Okay, Sir Austin came from England or over in the UK, and he wanted to build cars over here in the States so he can sell them because he was already making Austin cars.
They were
over
making
there.
what, the Austin, as I understand, the Austin 7 over there, okay?
Over there, correct.
Okay.
So he wanted to build them here in the United States. So he came over here and he found the Standard Steel facility where they built the Standard Steel cars. And it was sitting idle at the time, so he decided, okay, I'm going to plant myself here in Butler. And at that stage, they built 5 prototypes. They took them up to a New York show and sold from the New York show before there was dealerships around. You know, he was out looking for dealerships at the time. And then he came back and he started producing cars, you know, here in Butler. This is a very early one. This one was made, we're feeling, in the first week of production. It has a very low serial number on it. And they really didn't go by serial numbers on the cars, they went by body numbers. So every body that was manufactured got a number to it. And that's what your titles and everything referred to on these is a body number. So we have a very low body number on here.
This is considered an American Austin, right?
This is American Austin, that is correct.
That's the right name.
Yeah. So, you know, we purchased this, or Butler County Tourism purchased this the end of last summer. And this is basically the first time this car has been out of the garage since we've brought it back.
It's a neat little car.
It's,
you know
it's a
that.
cute little
It's a
car, yeah. It's, I mean,
it looks like a shrunken Ford Model T or something.
right.
You know?
And if you put the Model T picture up against this, you'd almost swear they were the same car.
Yeah.
You know, one time I had someone making a piece of literature, and they actually put the Model T on this piece of literature, and I said, no, that's the wrong, that's the wrong car.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to have them pull that Model T off and put the right car on.
How did they sell this? What was the selling points on this car?
It was more of an economy car. They were used more or less just to run around towns in, even though there were a few that were driven across the country. But most of them, ran around town.
Grocery getter, stuff
Yeah,
like
they
that.
were,
Yeah,
they were great little grocery getters. I mean, they made little, what's called closed-in wagons.
Like
And they
a
delivered
panel
bread.
wagon or something like that.
What?
Was it a panel wagon or
Yeah,
something like that?
like a panel wagon.
Okay.
And they the companies delivered bread and milk and stuff like that to your local stores in these little cars because it was just a short jolt down the street.
All right.
So you'll see quite a few of the panel wagons.
Trucks
And
or anything like that?
They did make a pickup truck. The pickup truck basically only had about maybe a 2.5 foot wide bed or long bed on it, and about the width of the car. And
So you couldn't put a sheet of plywood in it or anything
no,
like that? No, nothing
no.
like that. Huh?
Not unless you set it sideways.
Yeah.
Go down the road 8 foot wide. I don't care. But
So what are we sporting under the hood here?
we're sporting about a 12 horsepower motor.
12 horsepower motor. You know, my
And-
tractor at home has 15 horsepower, or
Mine-
18.
Mine's
really.
got 20. Mine's got 20.
Wow.
And the first time I drove in Austin was probably 8-10 years ago, and they were having an Austin Bantam meet here in the city of Butler. And the one guy, he had an Austin car and he had a Bantam car. And he says, "You want to drive the Austin?" And it was like, "Oh crap! Well, yeah, definitely, I'll take the Austin." So we went out driving to the city of Butler, and he had his Bantam car, and I had the Austin, and they go pretty good.
What are we talking top speed?
30, 35. But when
That's
you're in
it.
something that small,
Yeah.
it seems a lot faster.
I'd hate to get next to a semi in one of these. Gee, going 80 miles an hour, yikes.
But
Blow you right off the road.
We came down some pretty steep hills and stuff in them, and it's kind of shaky coming down because you have cable brakes on these, and cables tend to stretch as you push on the pedal, and so you lose some of your braking force, and so you gear down as you're coming down a hill. You got to take your time, using your gears and your brakes. It's a little bit of a driving experience to run one of these.
It's probably fun to drive, though.
Oh
huh?
yeah, it's a great little
Yeah.
car to drive. I mean, I drove one around that one whole day, and I just loved it.
Is this a British engine? The
No,
Austin?
this Austin engine, this engine in here was designed by Austin and manufactured in the city of Butler.
Okay.
They manufactured everything. Oh, they did all their own machining on the engines.
So everything was done in Butler, everything. Okay.
Right. They had the bodies made for them. I don't believe the bodies were made directly in Butler, but the bodies were made directly for them. It wasn't like they were purchased, items that other people could buy. They were built directly for these vehicles. Most of your car bodies, even today, are made by a body manufacturer, and Fisher used to be a big body manufacturer.
Sure,
back in the,
very big, yeah.
And so, but they were made directly for for Austin, the American Austin car, and
It's got a 6-volt system in it.
yes,
Electric lights,
6-volt system, electric lights, electric starter.
electric starter. Cool. Comfort interior, got the cloth interior in
It's
it.
got the cloth.
It even-
It's a nice little car.
yeah,
It's
it's carpeted the floors on it.
Yeah.
Okay, John, this has got to be my favorite one. This is it's like a cute car, it's a fun looking car, and it's a chick magnet, I think, you know?
Oh yeah.
Think maybe I can pick up a girl in this?
I haven't, but, but yeah, I think he's good. I mean, just imagine driving this down the road, going over to the ice cream shop.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
it's an eye catcher, I'll tell you. And this is what, a 39 Bantam Speedster.
Correct.
This is really cool. I love it. I love it. This was made after the Austin.
Correct. Austin was from 1930 through 34. They filed for bankruptcy in 34. Bantam came into existence in 36. And they actually went through 41 with a couple cars in the 41. We've got to remember that was a time when the war was going on. And so they did very few manufacturing of cars up at that stage.
They were trashing the cars back then, getting the metal.
Right.
Yeah.
They were after the steel.
Yeah.
But there's quite a few Bantams in the area, and there's quite a few Bantams out and throughout the country and throughout a couple other countries that I've heard of.
Is there a Bantam club?
Oh yes, there's
there?
an American Austin Bantam Club.
Okay.
And this car we purchased belongs to Butler County Tourism. They purchased it off of a person up the road here, not too far, maybe from where we're standing, maybe 5-6 miles from here, because he didn't want it leaving Butler County, and he sold it to Butler County Tourism.
So what are we talking top speed in this thing?
I think we're
Go
talking
ahead.
about 40, 45 in this.
I gotta at least go 50.
I mean, they probably advertise 50.
Yeah, but you don't want to do it.
But what they advertise and what they actually do, I mean, if you look at a lot of your speedometers nowadays, they say 120 on them.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
you
they'll
ain't
go
no way in
faster,
the world
yeah.
going to go up to 120. You
Yeah.
know?
So we're talking, we'll say, 45 miles an hour. What size engine we have? 4-cylinder?
We got a 4-cylinder, about 17 horsepower,
Single carb?
single carburetor. It's an updraft carburetor.
17 horsepower? That's a little bit more than that Austin. Huh? I think the
Yeah,
Austin was 50.
it's another 5.
Upgrade, yeah.
It's another 5.
Yeah.
But it was sufficient for the weight of the car. I mean, the weight of the car is about 1,100 pounds.
Could almost pick this up, yeah.
Right.
Two guys could flip it right over.
When we were moving the vehicles into here, we naturally had to push them into position. We were pushing the big heavy cars, and they're 4,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And then when we brought this one here, and it was like, oh, there's no weight here to push it.
One guy could do that, yeah. Pretty cool. Everything's electric on it, electric
Yes.
lights, electric start,
electric lights, electric start.
vacuum windshield, wipers, windshield goes down.
It sure looks like it.
Yeah,
I've never
that's
seen
cool.
it down.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. This is such a sporty looking car. I was doing some research on it, and I saw this car was featured in one of the cartoons, Disney cartoons way back when. Donald Duck. It was called what they said was called Don Duck at the time, and the Bantam Speedster was one of the cars Don Duck was driving. And then the big movie was that animated one, Who Killed Roger Rabbit, and that was the Bantam Speedster in that too. If you guys remember that one, that was a great movie. Back in what, the 70s, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back
And the
in then.
Bantam. And you said they were in a lot more movies than that? A bunch of movies?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen them in a pile of different little movies here and there, and a lot of people consider these, the more or less the delivery wagons and stuff, a little clown car where they would stash a whole bunch of people in there, naturally this one here, I can see somebody might try to stick 3.
Oh, good luck. Yeah, 3.
It'd be good luck trying to get 3 people.
Two little kids in here, yeah. But there is some space back in here, though, right?
Correct.
You pull
Yeah,
the seat up and
the back seat tilts forward, and there's some space in there for storage. Not a lot. This one here does have a top, so there's the framework for the top, and the top is folded up back inside there.
I don't like it with the top up. It looks so much
Yeah,
nicer with the
I
top
think they
up.
look much better with
Yeah.
the top up or top down.
Top down, yeah.
But that is a really fun little car to drive. I've driven this in a couple parades and around Zillionople a few times, and over to Butler and back. And it's a really great little car to drive around.
It's got-
And, you know, these type of cars, you get lots of looks going down
Sure
the
you do,
road.
yeah.
You know, and you always think there's somebody behind you. Oh yeah, I got a nice parade behind me going on that. So what?
You got a heater in this?
No, there's
No heater?
There's no heater in this.
You got a speedometer and all the gauges in it. Really
Right.
nice. Really nice. You got to be kind of a smaller person to be in this, though, right? Does the seat adjust at all? No, it just stays.
The seat don't adjust.
That's it.
If you have any type of a gut, you're not going to fit in there very well.
So thanks. Thanks a lot. I'm not going to fit in this one, then. Okay, John, this one's the big bad boy here, huh? For the
this
U.S.
is-
Army.
This is what they started with, yeah.
This is
kind
a-
of what they started with. This is third generation. The original Bantam, they ran it down Fort Hillebrand. They prototyped it down, or they prototyped it here in Butler, built it in 40 some days, took it down to Hillebrand, trialed it down there, brought it back up, stripped that one down. What all they did with the pieces, nobody really knows. I've heard some horror stories, but you know, there's basically gone. Then they built some BRC 60s, which was second generation. There's only one of those left. It's serial number 7. It's down at the Heinz History Museum.
Is there a big difference?
Oh yes, that's the difference. That picture there
Okay.
is what the BRC 60 looked like. And then from that stage, they only made 60 some of them, but nobody really knows why they called it the BRC 60. But then they started producing the BRC 40s. All told, about 2,700 of these were made
In Butler,
in Butler.
where they started,
know,
under U.S. Army supervision,
supervision.
basically.
Correct,
Yeah, they gave
correct.
them the specs.
They gave them the specs. They figured it out. You know, the handles on the sides are for lifting it.
Yeah, I believe that.
You know,
not
forward
for-
guys
it's not
were
for
supposed to be
getting
able
in.
to pick them up.
Yeah, if they get
You
stuck in the mud
I
or
heard
something.
there was one general walked up behind them and he grabbed it from the backside and he lifted the backside off the ground. He says, "Yeah, that weighs about what I think it should weigh."
What does something like this weigh?
That weighs about 1,800 pounds.
Okay, not much to it then.
Yeah, there's not a lot to it. It's mostly sheet metal and drivetrain. They were very rugged machines, actually. Like I said, there was 1,000 of them went to Russia. There was 200 or 300 went over to England. One of them, and I'm not sure of the whole story, but this BRC 40 still does exist. It was in Queen Elizabeth's hunting camp.
Oh, wow.
Their caretaker, he had it, and their caretaker would use it to, when they went out hunting, they shot something, he would go out in this BRC 40 and he would bring it back, you know. So, you know, the royal family, some of the royal family rode in them, you know, after they were done. This particular one here is serial number 1728. They started at 1,000. So this one here is number 728 of production.
This is what, two-wheel drive?
It's four-wheel drive.
Four-wheel drive?
Right.
Okay, were they all four-wheel drive?
Correct. They were all
Okay.
four-wheel drive.
Okay.
it has the.
It was always stuck in there. You couldn't change it. Or
No,
anything.
no, no. You can take them in and out.
Oh,
of
you can take
four-wheel-
them in? Oh,
You can
okay.
take them in and out just like your standard Willis
Okay.
Jeeps. They have an in and out for a 4-wheel drive and a high and a low transmission. It's a 3-speed with reverse.
What kind of engine are we looking at?
We're looking at a Continental engine around 40 horsepower.
About 40 horsepower. That was plenty?
Yes. I mean,
Okay. These weren't built for speed or
No,
anything.
right,
They were
they
just
were
basically built to
for
go
go.
through the mud and go through the hills and the
correct, they
trenches
went-
and all that
They
stuff.
were
Yeah.
just to go.
Yeah. They were just a tough old gal back then. And Bantam built them. And why did Willis how did Willis get their hands on it?
Well, there's some other stories, and I'm not going to say one of them.
We want to hear that one. We want the juicy stuff.
You want the one that I believe, or you want the one that you believe?
Okay. You say it enough, it'll become the truth, okay?
That's the way I felt about it too. But anyway, the government felt that Willis or Bantam could not produce enough of them.
Okay.
Okay. As you've seen here, Bantam had knew how to manufacture vehicles. They already had a facility. Butler had steel manufacturing. Butler had railroad. Butler knew how to build a car. There's really no reason that Bantam shouldn't have got the contract. Willis, in my mind, this is me. Willis manufactured some cars, so it's they were their own manufacturer. They did go back a little further in life because they built some cars early on, so they knew how to build cars, but we designed it here in Butler. We built it, they approved it, and we've got that about 2,700 pieces out there. But then again, it was the government felt that we couldn't produce enough of them, so it was given to Willis. Willis also had a subcontract out to Ford, but the original Jeeps were built here in Butler.
How long did they build these for?
They built them just about through 41.
When did Willis start?
They started in I'm going to have to say mid 41.
Okay, so these guys.
Yeah, they were.
So they basically stopped.
Right,
Okay.
they stopped one.
Okay,
and
then
they
Willis
overlapped
started.
for a couple months.
Yeah.
But most of them, they stopped Bantam. From this stage, they gave Bantam a contract to build trailers for the military. After that, after World War II, Bantam still built some trailers up into the mid-50s. I've seen it like 52, 53 that we've been able to identify trailers.
What kind of trailers do they make? Like for like the weapons and everything with the
No,
guns
just
on
more
them?
like ammo carrying trailers. They're about 3 foot wide, about 4.5 feet long. Decent size. Well, not real high, maybe 2.5 foot high sides.
You have any of those around? Can you?
Yeah, there's
you
a
can-
few of them around here. We ran out of space, or we probably would have had one.
You don't need much space in here. All these mini cars and everything.
I mean, it would have taken up the space of almost 3/4 of a car.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good
Okay.
size. It's amazing. This style here, this is a 41, and we're talking this is 2021. This is 80-year-old style, and you look at the Jeeps, they're almost pretty darn close to what they were back then. What Bantam had them, and you look at the new ones, you go, that's a Jeep. You look at this one, you go, oh,
That's a Jeep.
it's a Jeep. Yeah.
Yeah, you automatically recognize the Jeep brand.
Yeah. And for the people who don't know, how did they get the name Jeep? It was
There's been 2 or 3 different ways. Some say because of the Popeye movie, the Jeep, was a Jeep, the little animal Jeep. He was a magical animal.
Yeah, I forgot
Okay,
about
so-
him. Yeah, he's one of my little characters growing up there. Yeah.
So, they felt it was miraculous to that. You know, some say because, okay, the military called it GP,
That's-
you know, for general purpose.
That's the one I
and
understand.
when
yeah.
you, and when you
Jeep.
put the two together, it sounds like Jeep.
Yeah, GP.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few stories out there on that.
This is. They said this is what won the war for the United
That's
States.
correct. This
Yeah,
is- this
for
is
World
what-
War II.
This is what did
Jeep.
World War II.
That's amazing. You start out at Bantam. Really
that.
not far from Youngstown area either.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right,
So
yeah.
you're what, 45 an hour maybe?
Yeah, an hour maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm,
So
yeah,
it's worth
yeah.
a nice Sunday afternoon to come here. You have hours?
Yes, we are going to be open on Saturdays, 10 to 4,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're going to be open Sundays, except for Easter Sunday, noon to 4, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as well,
Mm-hmm.
noon to 4. And as I think I said, admission is just $3.
Okay. Any way we can look at this on the internet?
Yes, our website is harmonymuseum.org, and so you can get a little preview of what's going to be at the site, but you really got to come and see these cars in person.
All right. And then when you're done with the museum, you can check out everything else around
Right,
there,
cool-
which is
cool
really
thing.
cool little city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you are coming from the northwest, you can take Interstate 80 to 79, and boom, you're here. So,
So, nice little ride. Be a good Sunday drive or a weekday drive, So get the convertible out and, that's it. Every time I hear Harmony, I think of the Elton John song. I got that tune going in my head. What a great song. Rodney, thank you very much for inviting
Well,
us
thank you,
here.
Rick.
It's a real thrill to go look at the cars tonight.
Very good. Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.